Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Military Mind, bringing you news from the front lines. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee. Ukraine was hit by more than 100 attack drones overnight. Russia targeted multiple civilian infrastructure sites, leaving parts of the country without electricity. The Zaporizhzhia regional governor reported that Russian strikes damaged power grids in neighboring Dnipro region, leaving 5,200 civilians without electricity. These outages follow recent Russian attacks on Zaporizhzhia itself, where authorities say 12 people were injured. In neighboring Kherson, 2 civilians were killed and 5 more wounded in new Russian strikes. In Donetsk and Kharkiv regions, a total of 7 civilians were reportedly wounded. Meanwhile, Russia's Ministry of Defense claimed it shot down more than 120 Ukrainian drones over its own territory. Locals in Cheboksary reported a drone attack that injured 9 people and damaged residential buildings. Authorities temporarily restricted traffic on several major roads. Notably, Russia's Ministry of Defense did not mention Cheboksary in its morning briefing, a common practice used to obscure the real situation inside the country. The independent Russian outlet, Estra, analyzing eyewitness footage, concluded that a high-rise building was damaged and that roughly 450 meters away sits an electronics production facility. Ukrainian analysts suggest the intended target may have been a local thermal power plant. Turning now to the front line, according to Deep State, Russian forces have captured 5 villages in the Donetsk region and continue pulling infantry towards Seversk, which is gradually slipping into Russian control. In Pokrovsk, Ukrainian media Suspilne reports that Ukrainian units carried out a tactical maneuver to avoid full encirclement, redeploying to more defensible positions to strengthen the front line. Now, urban fighting continues inside the city, where Ukrainian search and assault groups are clearing Russian forces from built-up areas. Russian troops, taking advantage of fog, are attempting to infiltrate the northern part of Pokrovsk. In nearby Marinograd, Ukrainian units maintain defensive lines and continue eliminating Russian forces approaching the city. Now, moving to the Middle East, Israel has launched a new wave of airstrikes on Lebanon, putting additional strain on an already fragile truce. Israel says the strike targeted Hezbollah facilities in southern Lebanon, damaging several homes. The Israeli military posted on X that it hit multiple sites linked to Hezbollah, including a special operations training compound used by the group's elite Rod-1 forces, as well as several buildings and a rocket launching site. These attacks come just days after Israel and Lebanon sent civilian envoys to a military committee overseeing their ceasefire, an initiative long pushed by the United States to expand direct dialogue between the two sides. Tensions escalated farther last week when Israel bombed Beirut's southern suburbs, killing Hezbollah's top military commander. The multiple launch rocket system of Ukraine's 159th Separate Mechanized Brigade delivers the kind of firepower that breaks enemy offensive and helps stabilize critical defense positions. See, the crews operate with precision. The vehicles move into position quickly and quietly, occupying a location calculated down to the meter. Within seconds, they unleash a powerful concentrated volley over areas where the enemy is regrouping for amassing forces. As soon as the rockets clear the horizon, the crew begin their retreat, a textbook counter-battery tactic where survival depends on speed and accuracy.
Wi-Fi, ядро, 20 снарядів залпом, вогонь!
Принял, 20 залпом, огонь!
In Konstantinivka, on the front lines in Ukraine's Donetsk region, the war never stops, and every day could be the last. One local resident was returning home from his brother's funeral. His brother had been killed by a Russian drone strike, but even after saying goodbye, there was no peace. Another Russian drone appeared, once again targeting Ukrainian lives. With a mechanical whine overhead, the man managed to jump aside just a second before the impact. Still, the debris and shockwave caught him, leaving him with a broken leg, multiple injuries, and blood on the same road that had taken him to the cemetery hours earlier. See, this is not a combat zone, not military equipment, and not a strategic target. Just a civilian from Donbas walking home from his brother's funeral. This is what the so-called rescue of Donbas by Russian liberators looked like. Drone strikes on civilian, unmanned aircraft over residential streets, and funeral followed by fresh tragedy.
Да если что.
Блядь, сын брата похоронил, и теперь сам.
Жека. Жека ебал, пидорас, нахуй.
Я видел, что въебал. Второй куб где-то упал, блядь.
Если б не прыгнул, пизда мне была. Я смотрю, он сзади заходит, гандон, ебать.
Надо было бросать тачку, да, блядь, убегать.
Я ее бросил и побежал, блядь. Брата только что закопал, нахуй, ебать, сам говорю.
Надо їх зараз зафіксувати. Давай. А ну, давай ми зараз її плюс-мінус зафіксуємо. Місцевий, да?
Да.
Кончені. Охуєлі, блядь, по цивільним пиздують, а?
Ну, блядь, а что вы нахуй делаете?
Хорошо, давай. Я просто дивись, це не те, що я тобі там спасаю, блядь. Це для того, щоб трішечки обіздвіжити, блядь, твою ногу. Поняв? Воно в будь-якому разі буде тобі неприємно. Зрозумів?
Я понял, братик, я понял. Тут тоже осколки.
Тут нормально все, да, там?
Дополнительно сделаю, турникет ловить не буду.
Солнышко.
Сейчас я подметаю, запечатаю тебе.
Давай, давай, як тобі стой! Так ногу і тримай.
Стоп, тишина. Не, все, можно.
Ти нам давай домой.
Мешай, братик. Мишка. Миша,
Надо еще, стой, не закроется.
Миша. Миша, братуха.
Все, закрывай.
Миша.
The Ukrainian Yokai system operators recently had another successful day, taking down 11 Russian drones. Now, each of these UAVs could have threatened Ukrainian positions, equipment, or civilians. Now, they're just wreckage on the Russian side. These 11 downed drones aren't just numbers, they represent lives saved, disrupted enemy plans, and a clear message: Russian drones don't last long in Ukrainian skies. And with that footage, we conclude this edition of Military Mind. But for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.